Everybody, this is Henry the Weeder Man. Let's talk to the younger crowd. I know for years I've been hearing, the new generation, the new generation, the new generation. Well, first off, let's talk about the old generation. The old generation controls the new generation and manipulates them and can help them and educate them. We, as the older generation, father figures, mother figures, aunt figures, cousin figures, whatever figure you want to put on yourself, whatever term you want to use for yourself, leader, professor, I don't care. You own how you help the younger generation mature and be better. Your actions and how you act, talk, treat others is reflected of you, which then gets reflected into them. I really can sit back and say that and say it with a lot of experience because I lead by example every day because I want other young generations to have what I have. They can't have what I have if I don't give them that information, how I took that path. See, there was nobody to give me my path. I had to figure out my path. But I watched other leaders around me with their path. And I said, well, that's not a good path. I want this one. But we, as an older generation, own the ownership of the training of the younger generation and correcting them and smiling and telling them you're doing a good job and enforcing and reinforcing good standards. You know, me and my wife ate at Highway 55. Very young waitress comes up, really, really nice person comes up. I'm not even going to put lipstick on the pig of what the person was. Does not matter. It's a human. And I'm going to always talk about humans. I'm tired of race, color, creed, religion. I'm tired of it all. We're humans, all right? We all bleed the same. We all walk, talk, poop, and do everything the same. We're humans. So this human, right, brand new, young, inspiring, maybe 19 years old, and you coach them. We coached them. We smiled. We said, hello, how you doing? Hi. We're polite. She was polite. She would help us. And she took time to escort us down to our seat. Walked us back out the door, took time with us. We wished her Merry Christmas. I gave her a decent tip. I took care of her. We smiled. And then we said, have a Merry Christmas and God bless you. We don't say God bless you that much. We don't use God bless you in a way that it just gets tainted or it's watered down. We use it for people that God is truly, truly blessed to put into our presence to do things for us. So that's the young generation, right? 20-some years old. I'm 40 plus on that. But I could have come in there with her, and I've seen people do it. I've had to correct people, and excuse my French or English or whatever you want to call it. Shit. Treat people like shit. There's no need for that. The older generation, no matter if you're 10 years older, 5 years older than the next person, it's a generation of a human. You own that dictation, how that person will turn out. The most pliable person you can change and turn into a bad person is somebody that's 15 to 20 years old. I know because I was that guy. I know I was that kid. My father was abusive. I could have been abusive. But if I didn't have the chance to go in the military and be around great future generations that were already ahead of me 10, 20 years and go on the carrier and meet people that were seasoned sailors, and they were the roughneck sailors. These guys were from the 70s, right? I was going in with a generation from the 60s and the 70s. The one guy we called Papa, right? And Frick, he was Frick and already had 20 years in. So in 1980s, he was from the 1960s. You want to talk about some rough shit. I'm telling you, this guy was rough. But he took time to teach us, even though we were a new generation coming in, and he knew this. And he had 20-year plus on us or 10-year plus on some of them. And some of them had 10 years plus on me. They took time to train us to be sailors and to be humans. We owe that. I see way too many people in my age group and in the 70s and the 80s and some even in the 90s that don't take care of the generations below them. Or they make comments like, that's the new generation. Well, that comment is what fuels them to be who they are. The humans are like Gumby, right? I remember growing up with Gumby, and all they did on TV was to manipulate him and do frame shots, right? And so every time we were in the Navy and things changed, we just said we had to be Gumby. Well, young generation people, humans, are Gumbies, right? They get manipulated by the outside influences, whether it's social media, whether it's people they're around, their parents, their aunts, uncle, cousins, friends, right? They're sociably Gumby and manipulated very, very specifically. So if you don't pay attention to it and you don't get involved in it, then you get what you get. If you got a Gumby that's bent over and he's a piece of crap, well, that's because society Gumbied him that way. You got to figure out how to fix that. But don't be part of it. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the fix. I had one time, I remember I checked in with a boat and the captain said, are you my problem? Or are you going to be my fix? Because I'm broken. This was a skipper sitting across on a table with a pile of paper so high off the table, good 3.5 feet, I couldn't even see his face. He slid across the table to me. This was the USS Memphis, 691. This goes back to Gumby. And he slid across to me. He says, this is my problem. I need somebody who can fix this. You're first class. I fired 2 before you, and I fired 2 chiefs. I can't fire another one. I am emotionally broke with the new generation. I said, Captain, emotionally broke with the new generation. He said, I've been in this business for 22 years. And at that time, I've been in the business 12 years. So I was looking at him thinking, I must be that new generation that he's thinking about. So I had to take a turn on that and say, you know what? Do I follow that stereotype of that new generation? Or do I take myself out of Gumby mode and I fix it? Well, I fixed it. See, I'm analytical. I'm high thinking. I don't have a high education. I don't need a high education. I gave up on education. Education tried to make me the new generation that they wanted, and I was not that guy. I don't fit that mold. You should not fit that mold. Don't fit the mold of the new generation stereotype. Be Gumby, move what you got to move, do what you got to do to make things better. But don't be that guy that fits that mold of that generation comment. You don't need to be. There's no purpose in it. But I took that work, I took that ownership, and I proved to that captain I could do the job. So for 4.5 years until I made chief, I had no chief. And I didn't even care if I made chief. I didn't care if I was in the chief locker. I didn't care if I was a chief. I didn't care if I moved up. I didn't care if I got more pay. All I cared about is to prove to him and other sailors and other people there is no such thing. It's a generation issue. It's a people issue. It's not generation. It's a human factor issue. It's a human factor that somebody else gives a shit about another human and corrects the habits or the problems or the issues or morals or whoever they are, and you correct them and you educate them. You take the time to put your arm around them and say, you know what, I love you. And not say, you know, you're a new generation, that's okay. You don't hold the door. You don't say thank you. You don't say please. You look at somebody's scar or you're shitty with somebody. You don't tolerate it. You don't tolerate it. And you help the new generation and you make the world better and you stop the fighting and you stop the hate and you stop the anger, right? And you don't tolerate it. That's my pitch to you. It's not a generational issue. It's a human factor. Humans on the planet have populated to a point where they'll start rubbing elbows and friction starts. But you as the human itself, it's self-control of your own destiny, your own emotions and who you are can be controlled by yourself. You need to do that. You need to wrestle in that. You need to pull your emotions back and your opinions of others and things and features and who and what where. And you need to take ownership of it. And you need to say it's not just about me. Because if you do just about you or about me and not us, what'll happen is you'll be isolated. And when you're isolated, you feel lonely. And when you're lonely, you get angry. And when you get angry, you get hateful. This is a chain of an event that only you yourself can break. And you can break it around others. So anyways, that's just my rambling on for the day. Henry, the Weed Eater Man out. I got to go to work. I'll keep it under 10 minutes when it comes to these speeches. You got any input? You think I'm off track? Feel free to talk to me. I'm open to anything that's out there. Henry the Weed Man out. I got to go to work.